one of you guys can talk about how it's a mistake. Hi guys! Welcome to Shikosplanet!
Maybe you should take it slow.
Yeah, so guys, if you're new here, please don't forget to subscribe. And we are starting yet another amazing sit-down series. And with me, I have
Larry, Suma.
The reason why I have these guys with me is that we are doing a men's version of mistakes they made in their first relationship. So these are not the only people who give me the pointers that I have here. I have a lot of guy friends that I reached out to and they sent me pointers. So Larry and Suma are going to help me go through these points, and then we are going to just dig deeper so that we understand what are some of the mistakes that y'all out there have made while you were in your first relationships. And if you've not yet been in a relationship, which mistakes should you look out to so that you don't make them? First of all, maybe we can start with a disclaimer. At what age for a guy do you think is the right age for one to start thinking of being in a relationship? Larry, according to you, like when you gauge life scenarios and the time that we are in, what do you think do we have a right age for starting a relationship?
Okay, definitely not like we have a specific right age, but we have like a range somewhere in between. Because relationships are coming with a lot of things, and you don't want it's new, all that stuff, and you don't want it to be right in the middle of like your studies. You don't want it to come in the middle of something that is of importance to you at that moment, because these are two things that are important at the same time, and all of them may need position number one at your life at that time.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, when we did the previous series, we talked about being in campus is one of the times where the friendships that you're building, some can result to being romantic relationships, and I think that's where we got to diving into this topic, first time relationships. So yeah, Suma, what do you think? Do you feel you can give a specific age to when it's right to start a relationship?
What I can say is 15 is not the age. I usually go back to my Facebook posts back when I was 15 years of age, and I didn't make the right choices then. I don't think I was in a stage where I was so good in decision making. So probably when you're much older, I think from around 18, because then you can focus more on the intention of the relationship. So the intention is the most important. Whenever you feel you're ready, but the intention is for me the most important part.
Yes, and I love those answers, because now we are going to talk about the things that go amiss when maybe it's not the right time for you and you push yourself. And even if maybe it was the right time according to you, when you get what Larry said about the balance, can you be able to balance whatever you're doing as an individual as you're also in that relationship? So we want to find out some of the mistakes that spring up, especially in the first relationship, because of the lack of that balance, and like Suma said, lack of the maturity. And so yeah, let's go straight into it. First pointer is looks were a big factor, the main determinant actually. Then we grew up and we saw that the lesser the headaches she gives you, the better. So, okay, looks being a big factor for, in this case, apparently is a mistake. How can looks, how is looks not a main thing for guys?
I think looks is a main thing for guys. Sort of like we kind of pride ourselves on having a beautiful girlfriend or wife, so it's kind of like a main thing. But then as you grow older, I tend to think you now, which should be something from start.
Yeah.
Like character, nini, are you compatible, vitu kaa hizo. Because at the end of the day now, when you're in the house, alafu stress, ukifanya hii kitu, it's like you've stepped on another unknown wire.
Yeah.
Na like, it's usually like a whole random of, you can do one thing today to a lady to be good, tomorrow don't do the same thing. It's like, you just never know. So I think like looks is something you consider, but it shouldn't be like number one, but it's something you need to consider, because there are other things that you need to consider, because of like if you're intentional about it and you intend to go a long term, you need other things other than looks. Because someone once told me that for women, like you're beautiful, but then as you grow older, the beauty moves to the heart. That's what they told me. So I was like, okay, yeah.
Wow.
So it gets to a point where the heart needs to be beautiful kwanza, because outside in the naked edge, yeah, she won't look as fine as she was in 21.
Yeah, so y'all guys out there, let not looks be the big factor, and I think so you agree with this point.
Yeah,
looks can play a big role in you deciding, but let that not be the only thing you're looking at when you're settling with someone. We have another point. Last, was looking for someone sexually active, who I will enjoy trying things out with. I wanted to know what it felt like to kiss or be kissed. I think first relationships are usually around that 16, 18, you're just so curious. Okay, now I'm done with school, or I'm almost done with high school, so where are them girls at? So Tuma, talk to us about this specific mistake and how it can mess up a relationship.
First of all, it does happen, because when you're in your first relationships, as Loki has mentioned, in your teens mostly, so it's a time of experimentation for so many people. You want to know why my parents are denying me the chance to be in relationships or engage with certain characters, and so you want to, I don't know if I should say have a rebellious spirit, but you really want to experiment so much, and you find yourself wanting to engage in relationships purely out of lust, because you want to know how it feels to kiss a girl, and even further engage in even sexual relationships, because you want to know, and also peer pressure, because you hear about other people engaging in such relationships, and you want to know why and how it feels.
And you don't want to be left out. I mean, some of these guys, they're just chochaing you. You'll see a guy saying, oh, we have been doing this with my girlfriend, and then you're just like, what? I think it's about that time I get that person for that specific reason. Maybe. Anyway, so again, that's also a mistake to watch out. That what are the reasons as to why you're pursuing this person, and what is pushing you to get to that. If it's lust, then setting up yourself for a great mistake. Another mistake is space, rather lack of it. So how would you expound on this space, or rather lack of it?
In terms of space, when you're in your first relationship, everything is so wonderful. You want to be around each other 24 hours a day, 7 days of the week, and 4 weeks of the month. Should I continue? So you find out that you're so much in each other's space that you're not giving each other time to grow apart from the relationship. Because there are so many other things you need to engage in while you're still in the relationship, like friendships, like networking, and you're not able to do that because of the sheer amount of time you're spending with each other. It's important to spend time with each other because that's how you know about each other. But you should also observe some space. You should give each other some space. I came to find out that being in each other's face for such a long time can also have negative effects. You are easily triggered, you are easily angered by small things because now you're noticing even more.
Yeah.
Yeah, it also ties with, you know, living with each other. There's something about marriage and living with each other that brings out the real you.
Yeah.
So if you have that before marriage, then it becomes, when you're living with each other when you are still students, for example, it's very difficult.
Yeah.
There are some obstacles you'll not be able to overcome until you are at a point of maturity. So, yeah.
And I like that point. I think, hey, what's it called? Cohabiting.
Cohabiting.
Hey, cohabiting is one of the mistakes so many people have in their first relationships, because most of the times it happens maybe when people are around in campus, and you realize you're spending, like what am I saying? You spend so much time together until one person is realizing, hey, I'm never at my house. Why not just shift?
Yeah.
That's how it starts. Let me just bring my things and let's just. And again, with the freedom that's in campus, it's not like your parents are gonna police you and find out you're no longer staying where you used to stay. And also it makes sense saving the money, so you get rent both ways, and then you can live large in your space, and you'll be able to just revision the relationship. But then now what it does is that because there is no commitment per se, you don't have space.
Yeah.
You just now it's like you're married, but you face marriage problems when you're in a relationship, So I think that's a very good point, that you need to be very aware about also this mistake. I think this is a new mistake of living with someone just for the mere fact that you started dating. So another point is rest of our lives perception. So I believe this is when you're in that first relationship, you feel like, oh, I found the one. Can you propose already? I need a ring on my finger. So how does this affect guys, especially, as a mistake?
This is relative. It's not everyone who experiences it the same way, but in that first relationship, people get into that relationship hoping that it is the first and the last, and everything that you work towards it being forever rather than working on the now. You ignore the obstacles that are there instead of facing them, so that you reach forever. The fantasy. The fantasy world, and it's not that straightforward.
Yeah.
It could be that your first relationship is the last. That's if you're lucky. But rarely is it so.
Yeah.
So you should enjoy the relationship for where it is.
Yes.
Enjoy the now. You can plan for tomorrow, but enjoy the now. Not be too caught up in the future.
And I think that goes on to the point that we had about having uncommunicated expectations and assumptions. Do you feel like they can intertwine? But you wanted to interject with that?
Yeah. I think I'll just become from the expectations, because those expectations, some of them are a bit unrealistic. I think I'll just pull out from what Sumo was saying. All of us have had influences from the way we grow up about relationships. Some we get them from, we have major influences on how we perceive the world and how we perceive our relationships. One is our parents. Someone who grew up with both in a loving family, their perception on what a relationship needs to be is different from someone who grew up from a broken family. And then the other thing is the parents, and then the other thing is friends. Friends have a huge influence on us. like the way you were saying, you want to test out things because friends have told you, you know what, this is the way to go.
Yeah.
So you want to test out them because it's the influence. And then now another thing, like media and the community, especially the media, you know, you might not know it, but the way, the things that you perceive, Hollywood, blah blah, you know, girls have the tendency, you know, you end up thinking this is how relationship should be.
TikTok
this
couples
how,
just giving pressure,
you know,
everywhere.
So you walk into a relationship, you're like, hey love, can we make a video of this? Yeah, and the guy's like, hey, me, I'm not doing TikTok things, man, your nose here. You're like, so all those expectations, you know, they shape up our expectations, and then you now coming to like now the relationship in itself, you don't want, you want it to like, you have sort of like this idea that it's meant to be forever, you know, and truthfully that is how it is. It should be forever, but for you to get into that stage where you're ready for a relationship, it needs to be intentional. Like you've worked on yourself, you've had growth internally, you've had growth in let's say your academics, you've had growth spiritually, you've had growth relationship wise with friendships, you've gotten to understand like all those things together, like you've had growth, and you're at a place whereby if you let someone else in, you'll be able to take it longer for the forever that you want. But because of those influences, you get to a point where like, I'm 15 now, this is the best time to now start a relationship, and that's now the beginning of your mistake. You get? So definitely the intentionality, I would say that getting into a relationship so that you're not wasting each other's time, you know, you are looking at it from a perspective of I want this to be forever, but I acknowledge it might not be forever, because our priorities might be different, our perceptions of life might just be totally different. So in as much as I want it to be forever, but I'm recognizing that it might not be, but this is the space that I want to find out. Do we share the same goals? You know, if we're not sharing the same goals, if we're not sharing the same vision, then we'll easily let each other go and be like, mkono, bye bye. You know, it's not working. We can see it's not working. But if you come in with those unrealistic expectations, you'll end up breaking up because, man, this guy is not taking TikTok videos with me. You know, you'll end up breaking up because, man, me, I was taught like girls need to be willing to offer me sex for whatever time I want. You get? So you're like, you're not doing that. Okay, adios, someone, find someone else who is going to do that.
And I think that also aligns with another point of lacking clear goals. I think you have also explained that so well. That in our first relationships, most times, like, you don't have a goal. You're just like, we're here. Okay, let's go. Let's go. The other point we have is avoiding conflict. You know, mistakes. So the mistake here would be
to choose your battles. One key point I was told before was know the value of your confrontation. Are you just confronting this person so that you may show that you're right and they are wrong? Is it worth it? Is the confrontation worth it? Is it going to change the situation once you've confronted them? If it won't, then there's no need to spark a confrontation. You can tolerate some things. You can tolerate some things. You can confront someone.
Oh, I like that, avoiding conflicts. I think when you're in that honeymoon, this is my first time to love somebody, for someone to love me. You know, they do something that would irritate you, but you're just like, you know, and then later things are piled up and you're like, who is this? So avoiding conflict might be, you know, on a mistake in the sense of when things need to be addressed and you need to confront a certain thing that you don't like, it needs to happen.
I think like one thing that Suma said, you don't want to be let's say, aggressive towards your confrontation, and then you don't want to be, I would call it a bit malleable. You know, I'm confronting, but I'm not confronting. You know, I'm like, I didn't like what you did. So you didn't like? Nah, I was just joking. You know, you want to confront, be clear that this is what I do not like, and within yourself, like, state the reasons why you don't like it. You know, take time to sit back and then think it through, because you don't want to. I find sometimes people come with raw feelings and emotions. You know, sometimes you want to think it through logically with these people, especially for guys. And then, you know, sometimes like a girl would respond with her emotions, with whatever you've done, but for you, like, you sort of like need to think it through logically. What ABCD, acknowledge your feelings, acknowledge what it made you feel, acknowledge her involvement, and then in hindsight, like, you find as you're looking towards the vision or the goal that you guys had, now how does it relate to this argument?
So there is that, and then fighting over everything. You know, this is the flip side now. Yes, it's good to confront, but hey, you can get to a point where you're fighting over like too much conflict, too much confrontation. So maybe you can talk more about this.
Choose your battles.
Yeah.
Not everything is worth fighting for. Like toothpaste. So there are people who like to.
Don't squeeze it in the middle.
Don't squeeze it in the middle. So yeah, you can't fight over everything. If you fight over everything, it will mess things up. As I've said, there are things you can tolerate, like the toothpaste.
Yeah.
Maybe you can't, but
and if you can't, know that mapema. So
it's a chance to learn.
Voices. Yeah.
Hey, you learn that maybe siwezi handle mademo niona katikati.
Okay. We have keeping score. So what do you have to say about this?
That one comes with the confrontation, because with the conflict, the thing is, it's sort of like a mistake. Like, you're supposed to forgive, you know, and let go, you know. Especially like you need to forgive, let it go, and don't hold it back, because the more don't register it in your mind, because it's a key mistake. Because the thing is, even when you get married, you know, like, neza kasirisha sahi, and we need to go out sahi tena, so, you know, you're like true. Now, and you know, now the thing is, when you're mad, like, every other thing yenye inafanyikanga kila siku, hata yeye umekasirishwa, you're like, we need to go. Sasa leo she normally ties her shoes pole pole. Now sasa leo ndio inakushika tu vizuri, uko like uko tena unafunga viatu hivyo for that time. No, so everything that usually inakukasirisha
escalates
everything. So you kind of like need that really, like, choose the battle first of all, and then sort of like make it within you to resolve conflicts and resolve things as fast as you can in a relationship, because the more you drag it, the more it keeps affecting either how you perceive the girl or how the girl perceives you. So the longer you drag it, the more it so it's some issues that to be dealt now sahio. Zengine take a week, take a month, take a year. Okay, no, a year is too long, but just take some time to deal with it. Seek for advice from other people, like around. Uliza, nani alifanya hivi na hivi, what do you think? Not from everyone, don't take advice from everyone, by the way. Just disclaimer, take advice from your mentor couples.
Shikosplanet.
Yeah, you know, don't just take from everyone. Yeah, kuna wengine watasikia wende waseme tu.
Also, keeping score. Another one is, it could be something positive, but it could have a negative outlook. Because like gift giving, you know, one party of the couple is giving gifts often, and the other party is not. So the party that is giving gifts
I give you an anniversary.
Yeah.
Your birthday.
So
Why you attacking me? Yeah, so I think that also makes sense. I mean, if you tender wema nenda zako, even in the relationship, do not bad people here night and day until me I'm only the one who gives it. You're doing it from your own really full heart. Okay. Stopping being kind. So maybe what this person meant is it gets to a point where you're like, sasa tumezoeana. Sasa now the true colors are coming out right now. Kindness is not in your dictionary.
I think it ties up with just going back to being intentional and growing within yourself.
Yeah.
Because how you are when you get into a relationship, it's amplified.
Yeah.
You know, so if already you weren't kind, like even to yourself, because all these things stem from yourself. You're not kind to yourself. How you treat yourself, how you handle yourself, how you handle your friends, how you handle your siblings, your relatives. So when you meet this person whom you're supposed to be with in a magnify the you not being kind in a magnify too.
Yeah. Anyway, perfectionism. Think like Larry said, with the TikToks and the Hollywood, they make you see that in relationship mengia sasa more fire. So, talk to us about this. What the reality that hits in the sense of when someone is getting into their first relationship, they feel like they need to aim for perfection in that.
First of all, your relationship will not be perfect ever. So, now that is out of the way, you should not really strive for. You should strive for perfection, but the truth is, it's not quite achievable.
Yeah.
But you should always do your best to become the best version of yourself. And if she also is trying to become the best version of herself, then the relationship will grow together holistically. Yeah, so it's more about pursuing perfection as an individual.
Yeah.
To try and be the best version of yourself. Try. But perfection is a myth.
And I think this is the part where you're trying to get even someone with a perfect body. Perfect, everything. You're just like, hey, if I'm joining this relationship club, I need to get that fine girl. Fine girls, where are you? Then you realize, jokes on you.
I think just with the first disclaimer, so I put it out. There's this artist I like listening to. Shobaraka, and he says in one of the songs, he says, expect storm to hit paradise soon. Immediately you are in storms in answer. There's no perfect meaning. When he says storm hitting paradise, it's paradise supposed to be supposed to be good, man.
Good
but Nanza, the storms are now is the time.
You think you are enjoying yourself? Or so you thought. So another point is being in a relationship without mentors. Mentors in this case is even in anything you're doing that is new, you need people who have worked before you and know their way. So, and again we say at this space we have a lot of influence from our friends. Our friends, hey, we're on a date, hey, we're on a... So, how do you feel someone can even think about sourcing mentors in relationships, in your first relationships?
I think when you're sourcing for mentors, you need to start with family. If you're fortunate enough to have a family that this is a concern for, that this is a priority for them. If you're not, you surround yourself with. I would personally suggest church, whereby you have people whom you can actually share with and tell, I'm in a relationship with so and so, or I want to be in a relationship with so and so that they can guide you through it. Otherwise, finding mentors, especially those mentorships like media, stuff, movies, or ABCD, will not guide you because
blurry.
Yeah, blurry, man. Some of them are not even, don't teach you the right thing to do, because they will teach you like do it as you feel like, but sometimes like relationships and life isn't about doing what we feel like.
We have another point, being easily swayed by peers. You know, your friends may lead you to break up with a really good girl, or because they influenced you to experiment with others. Hey, so now we are talking about peers now trying to snatch away that one thing you have gotten just because they feel like it's exploration stage. So yeah, what do you think about this?
Yeah, peer pressure is a big factor. Some of your friends may assume that whatever you have going is not the best for you, so they might advise you otherwise. And such influences cause first relationships to break. And yeah, it's a big mistake in first relationships. You need advice, but you need to be selective in where you get your advice.
Yeah. We also have too young to know any meaning of a relationship, you know, or making a situationship into a relationship. So I think this is part of what we were talking about.
15. Yeah.
Why are you guys so against this 15-year-olds, 15-year-olds? We love you and we care about you, and it's good you watch this video before you hop into your first relationship. So yeah, I think when you're by too young, it again goes back to what Larry was trying to say about the goals. Like when you're too young, I mean, you're just trying to understand
why you're in school and why like you have to be in school.
So you getting meaning on why you need to be in a meaningful relationship. I think it's a bit hazel. Unrealistic expectations. So I think Larry talked about expectations in the other way of having the uncommunicated expectations, but now we also have unrealistic expectations. What's this about?
Like having unrealistic expectations, I would say, I think generally it's just from other sources, which are not to be like your guiding moral or something, guiding compass to like show you the way. So when you get those expectations from those sources, you have them on your list. Like for example, it'd be like, I want a woman with who looks ABCD. So you get those, then after that you want her to be this way, and then this is the ideal in me. I want her, when I say this, I want her to react like this, to say this back.
And now we have the last point, which is poor communication. And I think this also ish correlates to the point as well we are talking about the goals, communicated expectations, and now even this unrealistic expectations. I mean, people have to voice them so that you realize, this person, no. And I think because it's a first-time relationship, that's why it's become so tricky, because you're just like, I don't know what to expect. This person doesn't know what I should expect. So if you don't communicate, then how are you both gonna know? So what can you talk about communication even as we conclude?
For communication, I think, if you didn't start a relationship at 15, in campus, the common unit kuna communication skills. No, I'm not even kidding, because the thing is, we're taught how to communicate effectively, but we never do that. How we text, how we call, you know, you're communicating to pass a message and to put it across clearly. So for you to put it across clearly, you need to have thought through it vizuri before, so that you're not telling that other person, you know, I think blah blah. So this person is also like helping you figure out whatever you want. So it is now your job to figure out everything, so that as you're communicating your goals, what you want the relationship to be, they are clear and straightforward. They're not you're just finding it, you're winging it. Let me say you're winging it.
So far so good. I don't know how I got here, but we bless the Lord.
Exactly.
Okay. Yeah, so I think most, like you said, the first time relationships can be a bit blurry in the sense of it's trial and error. So I think lack of communication makes it a bit hard to adjust, and you'll find some people after their first relationships, they're like, I'm done.
Done.
Because of some of these things, like not communicating effectively makes it a bit hard for you to understand this other person. And so if you can't understand them, how are you going to even feel compatible, or try to see how you can be compatible? Yes, so it's good to have all these pointers relayed to you, and I'm so grateful to all the friends who chipped in on these pointers. Shout out to all you know yourselves, and obviously to Larry and Suma for taking their time to get to be here with me. Please don't forget to subscribe, and thank you for tuning in till this far. See you on the next sit down with Shikosplanet.